Clyde Barrow was born on March 24, 1909 in Tellico, Texas, as the sixth of 8 children to Henry and Cumie Barrow. Clyde's parents were tenant farmers, often not making enough money to feed their children. During the rough times, Clyde was frequently sent to live with other relatives. When Clyde was 12 years old, his parents gave up tenant farming and moved to West Dallas, where Henry opened up a gas station. At the time, West Dallas was a very rough neighborhood, and Clyde fit right in. Clyde and his older brother, Marvin Buck Barrow, were often in trouble with the law, for they were frequently stealing things like turkeys and cars. Clyde stood 5'7" and weighed about 130 pounds. He had 2 serious girlfriends, Annie and Gladys, before he met Bonnie, but he never married. Bonnie Parker was born on October 1st, 1910, in Buena, Texas, as the second of 3 children to Henry and Emma Parker. The family lived somewhat comfortably off of Henry Parker's job as a bricklayer, but when he died unexpectedly in 1914, Emma Parker moved the family in with her mother in the small town of Cement City, Texas, which is now part of Dallas. From all accounts, Bonnie Parker was beautiful. She stood 4'11" and weighed a mere 90 pounds. She did well in school and loved to write poetry. Bored with her average life, however, she dropped out of school by age 16 and married a man named Roy Thornton. The marriage was not a happy one, and Roy began to spend a lot of time away from home by 1927. 2 years later, Roy was caught for robbery and was sentenced to 5 years in prison. He and Miss Bonnie never divorced. While Roy was away, Bonnie worked as a waitress. However, she was out of a job as the Great Depression was really getting started at the end of 1929. Bonnie and Clyde were small-time criminals, Clyde already having a career in stealing and robbery prior to his arrest. In particular, they preferred small jobs like gas stations, hardware stores, and other small mom-and-pop arenas versus the bank robberies that they were later known and became faithful for. In fact, prior to the discovery of their hideout, they would have actually been very small-time criminals, but for the fact that their pictures were released showing a couple that was quickly galvanized to the American population. Bonnie, being a gun-toting maniac, was very good with the gun in the several gunfights that he got into. Also a well-renowned driver, he also drove his way out of many police chases and such with his uncanny knowledge of back roads, which was key for the couple's frequent traveling to visit family in Dallas, Texas. After the Joplin incident, Bonnie and Clyde were constantly on the run, unable to go to a diner to get a meal or to pick up laundry because their faces become so popularized and notarized. The couple had a tendency to kill both police and innocent civilians alike, a fact that further saddened and dampened their reputation with the national public. Eventually, it was decided that the couple had to go. On May 23, 1934, on a rural road in Bentonville Parish, Louisiana, the couple appeared in daylight by an automobile and were shot by a posse of 4 Texas officers and 2 Louisiana troops. The officers lied in wait for the car to come by and stopped at one of the frequent mail areas where gangsters exchange mail and such. When given the signal, the gentleman popped up and opened fire on the vehicle, pumping 130 rounds into the car. Bonnie and Clyde were both shot multiple times and pronounced dead on. The criminals, Bonnie and Clyde, were really a victim of the time period. The motivation for Clyde to commit crimes started at first with just to make money as a poor boy, but then became a focused slight against the Texas criminal system. As a result, Bonnie, who stuck along, was along for a short ride. Her desire to be with Clyde, her love or lust of him, if you will, is what stuck her by his side, even though knowing that she had a shortened life ahead of her. Her sorrowful writings, coupled with This romanticized story and the unmarried nature of this couple is what propelled them to national fame, not the pure skills of Clyde alone, whether it be with a Browning automatic rifle or in his amazing driving skills behind the wheel of a vehicle.